Hello everyone and welcome to another live expert interview. My name is Lucy Challenger and I'm the CEO of Polo Tweed, and I am joined today by the absolutely fabulous and my ski inspiration, Geli Häusl. Geli, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Lucy, for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you once again. Now, Geli, for everyone who's tuned in, is a professional ski instructor and ski guide. I thought, Geli, to sort of kick us off, you could tell us a bit about your background, you know, how you became a ski instructor and what led you into the path of working in the most incredible places in the world.
Okay, well, yeah, my name is Geli. Hello, everybody. Geli stands for Angelika. It's a short version of my name. But the thing is, I'm Austrian, which you probably hear anyway in my accent. And I live in the beautiful Arlberg region near St Anton. And maybe some of you know it by, with the skiing is very famous there. And so, yeah, my career and what I have been doing was just following my passion, really, because I had a normal profession before I went into the ski instructing side. But I decided that everything I started wasn't the right thing. And I always felt like going to work and I have to work. And it was always this have to thing. And that's why I decided maybe I try something which I really love. And that's how I came into the ski instructing thing. And so I did all the exams before the exams, there was a lot of training involved because obviously you have to have some sort of skills to be able to pass through it. But then also while you're doing the exams, you also get to know more about skiing and you learn about a lot of things for yourself. And so in the end of those like all ski instructors exams, I also wanted to do the guiding exams on top of that. So I did the ski guiding exams, which you can do in Austria too, to become a full cert off-piste and also off-piste guide and also ski instructor. And so, yeah, that's how I went there. So I really enjoyed that.
It sounds like a dream career for most people because, you know, I love to ski and my husband loves to ski and my son, who you've met now, loves to ski. But, you know, it's a passion and it's a hobby for us. And you've taken something that most people only get to do maybe once or twice a year for a week or two and turned it into a career. So what do you think it takes to actually have a career working in the mountains as a ski instructor and ski guide?
Yeah, first of all, you have to have the passion for it because, you know, you're outside every day. You're outside in any sort of weather. You have to love the mountains and you have to love people. You know, you have to love to work with people because otherwise, you know, you're in the wrong job. Because if you are always like annoyed about everybody asking questions or can't do anything you maybe even want them to do, then you're on the wrong side. So you have to have patience, I guess. And also, I think you have to have the courage just to go a little bit into the more unknown, as I call it. Because if you are in a proper 9-to-5 job, you know exactly what's going on and you know your hours. We sometimes don't know, do we have 3 hours? Do we have 5 hours? Do we have 6 hours? Do we have the whole week, you know? So you have to build that up also because I'm self-employed. So you have to do the whole thing because it's so-called one-person ski school I'm working with, or the way I work is with a one-person ski school, which means I do from marketing to bookkeeping to actually instructing, guiding. I do everything, you know, getting the clients and, you know, and all that sort of thing. So it's very interesting and it's a whole package. So.
Yeah. And you're right. I think a lot of the time people think of, you know, a life as a professional ski guide or ski instructor is, you know, we see the glossy photos of the skier in the beautiful sunlight, you know, in powder, doing the turns, and it all looks very glamorous. But actually, as you know, as I know, you're often on the mountain, zero visibility, it's cold, you have, you know, someone that's still doing snowplow and you're freezing, and like you say, if you're not the right person for that, then it's not going to work.
No, exactly. But it's also the nice side of that is that it's not the same every day, you know, it's always changing. Like every morning you have a plan. Yeah, because you think maybe you know those guests, or maybe even you don't know the guests. You think just from what you've been writing to them or what they've been telling you, okay, this is what we can do. But then you see the people, then they might be a lot better than they think they are, or they maybe are not as good as they think they are, you know. And then you have to, I always call it, you have to react, you know. First you plan, and then you have to react. And there is so many factors which change your day, you know, like it's the weather, it's the ability, it's the condition of the person, like the fitness, you know, is also a big thing. It can be a really good skier, but if they are like in one run they're totally knackered, then you have to really try to make easy runs slowly, and then you can go through the whole day. So that's why I call it, you have to react. And that's very interesting. I like that, you know, and you have to be spontaneous with that stuff, you know.
It keeps it exciting each day, and keeps it fresh, and like, rather than working in an office, there's nothing wrong with that, but that wasn't your life. You didn't want that to have that same thing every day, and you wanted that spontaneousness and excitement. And I know, having known you personally for many years, that obviously your partner, your husband, is incredible skier in his own right. Your daughter is a phenomenal skier. I mean, she's just like on another planet. But you know, you're working long hours, you're self-employed, you know, there's a lot of challenges to running your own business. So how do you balance that sort of family pressure with being a mum, with, you know, making a successful ski guide, ski instructor business happen?
Oh, well, I think it's all about, management, time management. And, you know, we moms, I mean, you are the same, you're also working. So, and lots of moms are out there now working a lot. It's not like in the old days where moms are at home, dads bring the money. It's like everybody works. And so with my partner, who is a really good skier, and he used to ski in the Freeride World Tour, you know, and he's still a professional skier, which means that he still makes movies and all this like fun stuff, which also is a lot of other stuff involved in. So I tell you, I know about it. So there's a lot of pre-work, there's a lot of stuff. So I think the good thing about being both in the same sort of business is that we understand each other quite a lot. We know what's going on and what's needed. We also always have a second opinion, in a way of like, a big thing in our profession is also safety. So it's nice to have a second opinion. Like, we always watch the weather. The whole winter, we watch the conditions. We watch what is possible, what is not, which exposition. You know, there is a lot more about it than just skiing. And that's why it's so nice to have also your partner, like, because you understand that quite, you know, you can understand what he means, or he can understand what you mean. And with the daughter, and the challenging part is sometimes to bring them to their other stuff, like in school, and to pick them up, give them food at lunchtime, when you also work until I don't know when. And so the organization is that you have like your packed lunch ready to pick up somewhere, or the daughter she has to be quite, straightforward with her how homework and stuff. Like, if she doesn't want to do it, you know, she can't go skiing, you know. So in all that sort of sense, it's just a part of our life, you know, which is normal for us, that we just organize everything straight through. So every evening before the next day, we say, what are you doing tomorrow? What am I doing tomorrow? What is Jana doing tomorrow? And then we make a plan. Yeah. You know, and that's the experience now, because like way back, our experience was like planning the whole week, and that didn't work. Because then Monday you plan for Friday, and Friday everything is different. So
exactly, I hear you on that one. And you know, it's interesting you talking about the aspect of safety, because I think from someone, I've skied all my life, and I love being in the mountains, but I forget, you know, that the mountains are a dangerous place, and things happen, and people can lose their lives, you know, and it has to be taken seriously. And I think you have people coming on holiday, going to do the holiday, you know, thing, and joy and fun as it should be, but you're there to give them that fun experience, that insight into the world, to teach them either their ski technique or to take them guiding. But you also have to balance the safety element, which is so important when it comes to guiding, to keep your clients safe and yourself safe. But how do you balance that? Because people are there to have fun, right? But then you're wanting to keep them safe, obviously, as well. So how do you sort of balance that yourself, or what's your approach?
My approach is, as I said earlier, is with this, like, to have a plan first and maybe have a second plan, and then the information. So I think conversation between the guest and myself is also very important. So you can already, from that aspect, you can already make the most out of that. But also with the safety, that is the main thing, like I always say, no turn is worth to die, or no turn is worth to have an injury. Like, of course, accidents happen and we all are just human. Like, it's with driving a car, it's always the same example, you always want to get home safely, but accidents happen. So to keep that risk as low as possible is a good preparation, So that's why I say we watch the weather the whole winter. We watch the snow conditions the whole winter. Even if we just ski on the slope, we still know what's going on in the off-piste. So if the next day you have an off-piste client, okay, this exposition, there is the good snow, but it's also more dangerous. This is maybe not such good snow, but it's less dangerous. And then sometimes you find, this with the steepness and the right exposition, maybe you can go to the good snow, but with less risk or almost no risk, And so that's how I think you calculate it out a little bit. Of course, like the most you can. And if I have a bad feeling about something, and if there is no reason, I just don't do it. And I think also with my experience now, not being 20 anymore, also helps. So I don't let myself getting pushed. If my guest wants to do something somebody else did because that was the best whatever, and I don't have a good feeling with that, then that's how it is. And then goodbye, guest, if he doesn't like that. Because for me, safety is really the first. And I think that's how it should be in general.
100%. And, you're keeping yourself safe, you're keeping your guests safe, and not sort of jumping in without having any respect to life is never a good idea. If you're getting in a car, like you mentioned, or anything, you've got to have that sort of respect. But for people listening that might not be avid skiers or may have only done a little bit of skiing, what's the difference between on-piste skiing and off-piste skiing? Why is it different, and why is off-piste skiing more dangerous?
Okay, off-piste skiing in general is not more dangerous. It's just the only thing makes it more dangerous is for people who don't know what they're doing, because the piste is protected by from avalanches. It's protected and it's groomed and it's secured by people who, like, if you injure yourself, somebody's there in 5 minutes to help you, for example, to keep it simple and easy. The off-piste, there's one thing, the triangle, like the diamond slopes. I don't know, in America, I think it's something different, but here in Europe where I work and I live, the diamond ones, they are still protected from avalanches, but only like 10 meters on each side. So that means like of the pole, yeah? So when you go off-piste, you have to either have a guide or extremely know what you're doing. And that's why for everybody who doesn't ski off-piste is already dangerous. Yeah, which is how it is when you don't have a clue. So important is that you get your bearings right. So on-piste is like on the groomer, it's all regulated, it's all secured, and off-piste it's not.
Okay, I understand. So the conclusion for anyone who's wanting to explore off-piste is to find a trusted guide like yourself. Don't just ski off the side of the resort because you've seen some tracks going and think, oh, I'll follow them and see what happens, because you get yourself into a sticky situation, and ultimately you need to preserve your life, whether you're on piste or off piste. So having that experience that you bring to the table and have that safety factor, it's so important. And sort of going back onto the piste or off piste, as it were, because obviously they both involve ski techniques, but for people who do more on-piste skiing and, you know, would like to get better at it. You also help with instruction. And I know with me, I was terrified after having had a baby, like my whole center of gravity had changed. It was utterly bizarre. And I couldn't ski, and you helped me sort of ski again. I know you help me ski a lot much better than, you know, because it's a mental game for me as well. But, you know, what would be some techniques that you could share with people listening about, you know, how to be a better skier, if that's possible?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's always easier to show people, you know, because when you just say a few tips, you know, that can help a little bit. But the best is when you can show it and then practice straight away, obviously. But for sure, there is certain things which I can even just say in the theory here, which I would say one is maybe don't lean back, you know, because lots of people, especially in the off-piste, they think if I lean back, the tips come out and then, you know, I can ski, which maybe has been right in the old days with the straight skis and with the, you know, tiny thin skis, but not with the material we have now. So it's important that you don't lean back. And the next thing is maybe ski without ski poles once in a while. Also in the off-piste, because that really gets your balance right and you can't hold on to anything. So you need to have the middle position and stand in the middle. Why are you laughing, Lucy?
Because I've done this all with you, haven't I? It's bringing back the memories of like, now you have no ski poles. What do I hold on to?
Oh, well. And another thing, maybe work on one thing at a time. You know, don't try to change everything at the same time. Try to get one or two things and work on them until they're okay, and then to get the next thing going. And maybe as an extra, do the same run a few times. So you're confident in that run and you don't have to change all the time and also think, oh, what's going on? Oh, maybe I can do it. Oh, can I do this? So you know exactly that you can do it, and then you can practice and get better.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Quick.
And you help design and develop equipment, is that right? You do test skis and figure out, and you advise the companies on who's making it, what's good and what's not good about them. What is it about the equipment that skiers use? I mean, should we all be buying the most expensive equipment? You know, what do you help with your clients when you're offering advice about equipment to them?
Yeah, I think most of the companies have really good skis now. But the thing is, you have to find the ones that they suit you and they fit you, you know, in the way of stiffness, in the way of torsion, do you call it? Torsion? Stiffness, and then also with the width, you know, like if you go off-piste, it's good to have a bit wider skis. When you're on-piste, it's better to have more narrow skis. If you want to carve, it's a different ski. Of course, there's lots of skis which you can do everything with, you know, so you just find the ski you like. And obviously, you know, with testing those skis is a really privilege also for me, because Stefan, my husband, he's doing that quite a lot. And I'm also allowed to help them sometimes to test the skis, you know, and say if they're, you know, if I like them or not. And also our little daughter already, she's 11 now. So she's been testing the race skis for Nordica, which we work together most of the time, the ski company. And yeah, so it's really, really fun. I mean, obviously the design doesn't really do so much on the ski, but it makes you feel better when you have a cool design on it. And we used to do that quite a bit with the female ski launches, you know, when they were launching new female skis. They got a few girls together or ladies together to give their opinion on what they like and what they don't like. Because I remember the first female skis came out all with flowers. That was like a female design. And then we said, why? I mean, flowers are nice, but why does we have, you know, do we have to have skis just with flowers on them? So now it's a lot more versatile, you know, with whatever.
Thank goodness. Pink flowers, it's probably not the look I'd go for either. Like,
exactly, but you know, that's what the guys who were designing skis always thought, you know, so that's why it was really good that they brought us all in. And I don't know how much they got out of it, because every woman had a different opinion anyway.
Exactly. And obviously you're working at the moment in St Anton, which is the most incredible ski resort, like one of the most awesome ones I've ever been to. And you've traveled the world, and you work in the summer as well, doing different things. But do you have any funny or unusual stories you could tell us about your amazing career working in the mountains? Is there anything you could think of?
Okay, I mean, there's actually quite a few stories, but you know, that would go too much and too long, and I would bore people in the end, because you know. But I've been traveling quite a lot, and I've been traveling mainly with skis around the world, I would say. So you know, been up to the Arctic. I also did some really strange trips for myself, like sailing, which I'm not a sailor, you know, but that was the only way to get to the mountain, was by sailing boats and stuff like that. But I think one of the stories I can really think of is when we went to Alaska. Many years ago, you know, I mean, you have to imagine not everybody had a mobile phone at that time, you know, so it's that long ago. And and we went there and organized the whole sort of trip, and we actually took some clients with us, another friend of mine who was a mountain guide, and myself. And so we had a few guests with us, and we wanted to do a trip we did the year before. And everything was super, because we knew we would fly in with a little plane, we would make base camp, we would do like 3 weeks of ski touring in there in the middle of nowhere in Alaska, you know, very exciting and really cool. And had everything planned. And you know, the year before we had a big car which we had to park for 3 weeks. So this time we thought, we don't need a car, we take a taxi to that place, you know, so we don't need to park. Actually, cutting a long story short, everything worked out to be so different than the year before. So the first person was flying in, because we had to go with the plane one by one. It was only this like one little passenger planes. Anyway, and the first person went in and came back out again. And we go like, what are you doing here? You know, you were supposed to be dropped off and build up base camp until all the, you know. And then he said, no, not possible. It's all crevasses. Wherever we slept and had our base camp the year before, it's like ice, crevasses, and no snow. So they had a bad winter sort of, and that's why we couldn't do it. So we were like, and now what are we going to do, huh? So we had to organize in like 2 days a whole new trip in a whole new area, just to get everything going. And the funny part about it is that we were sitting in the plane flying over to Alaska next to a guy who was owning a lodge in another area in the Wrangell Mountains instead of the Chugach Mountains. And he had a plane, and he had like the sort of same setup that what we were having in this other area. So we were going like, we need to call that guy. Yeah, call a guy without a phone. Okay, sugar, next problem. So the really cool part was that I took a phone card just to be able to call my mom before I fly in and and when I come back out. So we had exactly this, like whatever, £10 or whatever amount of money to call that person and plan a whole new trip. Because we were in the middle of nowhere. There was luckily one phone box, which I knew from the year before. That's why I bought this card. So anyway, I was like, we were organizing this whole trip in like 2 days. And then we did, the whole trip just in a different area with a different plane, with a different mountain. And so, that was
that obviously you were able to think on your toes and get jobs sorted for your guests and for the experience. But it didn't sound like the easiest of places to be making phone calls from.
No, I mean, it might be different now, but this is like, you know, a few years back, but still it was like quite an excitement going on there.
A big adventure. So, I mean, one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you today was because, you know, a lot of my clients, a lot of the staff that work for my clients ski, and they love skiing, and they often travel with their principals to go skiing, and they're always looking for good contacts, and you know, you are a phenomenal ski instructor and ski guide, so I hope next time they're thinking of finding someone that they reach out to you. But you know, we do obviously we're in a pandemic at the moment and the world has become pretty much lockdown. But once this lifts, we go back to some normality life and people can travel again and ski again. And we set up this e-learning platform for people to be able to access our training, you know, things like being discreet, because as a ski guide, is, you know, you have to be discreet and be private with the experiences that you have with your clients, and it crosses over into our staff as well. You know, you're with people who are quite vulnerable sometimes as a ski guide. I know, because I've been vulnerable with you, and you know, you have to respect that and treat that with discretion and privacy so that they have a good experience and want to come back to you. But why do you think that digital learning or e-learning or remote learning can be an effective tool with skiing, with my industry? Do you think that there's a place for it?
Oh, absolutely. I think every information you can either get beforehand, or like, you know, even on the way to St Anton, if you have like a ski tutorial sort of or e-learning platform where you can just look through it, and then you already have a bit more of an idea. So you get your mindset also to what you want to do. Or I can imagine in almost every business you can do that. And that's why I think it's so good, because they have more idea in, you know, when I was giving these technique tips, you know, when you already know about them, then you explain them once. Otherwise, you explain them maybe 3 or 4 times until they know it, you know, so because they already heard about it. So it's only a reminder then, and then you put it into practice instead of starting with scratch, you know, with zero.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, because the more you've been given that information and absorbed it, even if it's from a theoretical perspective, you can then start to input it into the physical. The more I tell myself, don't lean back, the more eventually the light bulb moment will happen and you will tell me to not lean back, and I won't lean back. I hope.
That's why you should think about the arrow and not the leaning back thing, you know?
Yes, think about the correct
arrow, and then you don't lean back. So it's just always
changing your mindset. Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I mean, Geli, it's been so fab to speak to you today. And I mean, I would love to talk to you about skiing all day, because, you know, I love skiing and you love skiing. But for people who want to track you down and book you as a guide or instructor, there's various ways they can reach out to you. So the first version is via your website, which is Geli, Geli skiing.com. I believe you're also on Instagram, and that's again just Geli Skiing on Instagram. And then you're also on Facebook, and that is Geli Häusl, and Häusl is spelt Hausl St Anton, if that is.
Before Häusl, there is no dash.
There's no dash. So just Geli Häusl St Anton. Okay. Fabulous. But, you know, for everyone who has tuned in today, I hope it has been an insight into the world of skiing, whether you ski yourself, whether you are interested in starting, or whether you work for someone who skis and needs someone like Geli to look after them, because Geli's phenomenal. I love Geli. And the difference she's made on my own skiing has been insane. So, you know, Geli, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing these stories and tips with us. It's been really, really fab.
Thank you, Lucy, for having me. It was really, really a pleasure, and yeah, very happy that I could be here.
Thank you, Geli. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.